Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. By Marcus Aurelius. If you only read books that everyone else is reading, you can only think what everyone else is thinking. Haruki Murakami? I'm not good at pronunciation. But I found those two quotes this morning, so we're going to talk about it. Because yesterday I brought up alien disclosure and we kind of talked about it, and I said it's important to have an open mind, and with meditation and having a higher consciousness, it is so important to have an open mind about things when you're looking at things from a different perspective, right? And I think people that have a very closed off mind have a hard time in life because they're not willing to see maybe a different way of looking at something. So we're going to talk about it. Approaching every scenario in life with an open mind and refusing to jump to conclusions is one of the most powerful mental habits that you can build over time. Here's a comprehensive list of why this mindset is a major advantage in all areas of life. Intellectual and decision making. Accurate reality assessment. You see situations as they actually are, not how your biases distort them. Flawless problem solving. You analyze all available data, leading to innovative solutions rigid thinkers might miss. Immunity to manipulation. Scammers, media spins, and toxic people cannot easily trick you because you pause to verify your own facts. Continuous intellectual growth. Every new perspective you encounter expands your knowledge base and sharpens your intellect. Higher emotional intelligence. You process information logically rather than reacting based on immediate, raw emotions. Social and relationship advantages. Zero unnecessary drama. Most interpersonal conflicts are caused by misinterpretations, which an open mind entirely bypasses. Deeper, authentic connections. People feel safe, heard, and respected around you, which attracts high-quality relationships. Effortless conflict resolution. You easily find win-win compromises because you can genuinely see the other person's side and perspectives. Freedom from prejudice. You judge individuals based on their actual character, never on stereotypes or tribal labels. Personal peace and well-being. Drastically lowers anxiety. You stop inventing worst-case scenarios in your head because you wait for the actual evidence. High regret prevention. You rarely have to apologize for speaking too soon or making unfair, rushed judgments. Comfort with uncertainty. You develop a high tolerance for the unknown, making you highly resilient during life crises. I think that one definitely applies to my life for sure. Freedom from being right. You drop the exhaustion burden of needing to win every argument and choosing peace over ego. It defeats cognitive biases. Your brain naturally tries to save energy by finding information that already agrees with you. An open mind actively fights these traps. Confirmation bias. We naturally seek out evidence that proves us right and ignore evidence that proves us wrong. Open-mindedness forces us to look at the counter evidence. The echo chamber effect. Staying closed-minded surrounds us only with people who think like us, which artificially amplifies our own opinions and makes them feel like absolute facts. It drives intellectual growth. Exposing your brain to new challenging ideas builds new neural pathways, keeping your mind sharp as you age. You have better decision making. Seeing multiple angles of a problem allows you to accurately assess risks and find creative solutions that a rigid mind would miss. It builds genuine empathy. Conflict resolution. Most arguments dissolve when you stop trying to win and start trying to understand the other person's perspective. Understanding others' perspectives, I think, is huge. You have to always take and look at both sides of things before you make a decision. Deeper connections. People trust and open up to those who listen without immediate judgment, leading to richer, healthier relationships. Protects against manipulation. Independent thought, as Haruki Murakami quote that I read in the beginning highlights, thinking outside the popular narrative prevents you from being easily swayed by propaganda or peer pressure. Rigid thinkers are the easiest people to manipulate because their reactions are entirely predictable. They are quick to react and to react through emotions. Comfort with uncertainty. The world is complex and rapidly changing. An open mind helps you adapt to new realities instead of panicking when things don't go according to your own worldview. Mental cognitive decline. So this is where the closed mindset comes into play. Your brain stops growing. You reject any data that challenges your existing worldview. Severe vulnerability to manipulation. You are incredibly easy for media, politicians, and scammers to control because you have to trigger your own existing biases. Extremely poor decision making. Basing choices on a narrow, inaccurate version of reality guarantees frequent, avoidable failures. The boiling frog syndrome. You fail to see massive cultural, economic, or technological shifts happening around you until it's too late to adapt. Incessant interpersonal drama. Rushing to judgment causes you to constantly misinterpret people's motives, creating endless, unnecessary fights. Superficial social circles. You end up surrounded only by yes men and echo chambers, destroying any chance of deep, authentic human connection. Inevitable loneliness. People eventually tire of walking on eggshells around someone who refuses to listen and will only see one side of something, leading to social alienation. Severe and emotional psychological tolls. Permanent outrage and anger because the world doesn't confirm your rigid rules. You live in a constant state of frustration and bitterness. Crippling anxiety and unexpected changes throw you into a panic because your fragile mindset cannot process or cope with uncertainty. The exhausting burden of ego. You spend massive amounts of energy constantly defending your opinions, prioritizing being right over having inner peace. So here's a couple exercises you can do to help you open your mind. The what would change my mind test. Before arguing online or offline, stop and ask yourself, what specific piece of evidence would make me switch sides? If the answer is nothing, you aren't having a debate. You are in an echo chamber. The media swap. Once a week, spend 10 minutes reading an article from a reputable news outlet that directly opposes your political leanings. I think this is, I don't think many people would be able to do this. Do not read it to get angry. Read it to understand how they built their argument on the opposing side. 24-hour no judgment rule. When someone proposes an idea or a lifestyle you instantly dislike, force yourself to wait 24 hours before criticizing it. This stops your brain's automatic fight or flight reaction to new information and a new perspective. The perspective shift game. Take a belief you hold deeply, write it down, and write down the 3 strongest, most logical arguments against it. If you can't do that, you don't actually understand the topic as well as you think you do, and you might need to rethink that. So, the reason I am bringing this up is because yesterday when I brought up alien disclosure, I started thinking about religion and how that would affect people's views on their religion, right? And I think I've kind of hit on this prior, but I think it's important that we have, created our own beliefs around religion. Like, I have created my own relationship with God, with the universe, with what I believe is my religion, my spirituality, right? And no one can take it from me. And, I don't think that we have to be so rigid about what religion is. Like, people go to church and you listen to the Bible, right? That's one book, one way of thinking. But what if there's more than that? What if there's more out there that you're missing, right? And I think this pertains to so many different things in life. Everything has 2 sides, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's never on one side or the other. So even with politics, people get so heated about politics, but most people fall somewhere's in the middle, not left or right, but somewhere's in between. So I think we just have to have more compassion and take some time to really think about things before we react, before we make a biased opinion. I think You know, you really need to compile your own evidence, your own research, do your research, and really figure out what you believe. Not what anyone else believes. Make your own belief from information that you collect. And that should be where you go and how you deal with things like that. Let me know down below in the comments, what's your beliefs? What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you